All right, guys, welcome to the latest episode of the Heat Locker. Today we're at, where are we at? Hunting.
We're at Serra BJJ Huntington, Long Island, New York.
Here with Jason Rau, and welcome, Jace. Thank you for doing our podcast with us today.
Thanks for having me.
Jace has been on the podcast before, so this is episode 15. You were on episode 9. I haven't done a lot since you've been out. We're not been as regular as I'd like to, and yours is by far the biggest hit.
I'm glad to hear it.
So, if it's me talking for an hour about jiu-jitsu, we have 200 people listening. If we've got Jason Rau talking about jiu-jitsu, we've got 1,200 people listening.
Nice.
So for a podcast that's really got no push behind it, I think that's a pretty decent effort. So we're going to just have a chat today, go through training stuff. A lot's happened since we spoke last.
Yeah.
So last time we spoke was 2018,
beginning of September, I think.
Yeah. So what was it? What are we at now? About a year, nearly.
Yeah. So it's July. 10 months, almost a year. Yeah.
So what's happened since then? Were you on Kasai there at that stage or not? I forget.
No. We did the podcast after I did Kasai.
After you did Kasai.
I was in the Kasai 170-pound tournament. I did the ADCC trials after that.
That's right. So you had the
had a few matches at Rise.
The East Coast trials first, right?
The East Coast trials and the West Coast.
Which you took out silver, lost by just 2 points in the final to John Sativa.
Sativa, yep.
Sorry to even talk about that.
No, it's okay. So I made it to the finals of the East Coast.
Yep.
I had 2 matches.
Submitted everyone all the way through.
Yeah, I had 5 submissions. Yeah. I had 2 matches at Rise. I beat Manchur Kara. I beat Herbert Burns. Then I lost in the quarterfinals of the West Coast.
Yes.
So
that still hurts.
Yeah, it sucks, but it's okay.
Yeah.
I had actually knee surgery recently.
What was the kid's name that beat you?
William Tackett.
And he's doing big things, but he's not a bum. He's
doing well now. He just
winning
won,
lots, isn't he? He won a tournament on the weekend.
Tournament called Jits King over the weekend. He beat some good guys. And I actually am supposed to, I don't know if it's confirmed yet, have a match with him at Kasai in August.
So they're going to do it. They're going to run it back.
Yeah, so a month and a half from now. So, so hopefully.
Interesting.
Yeah, so.
Now, is he still a purple belt? He's a fucking really good purple belt.
Yeah. He's like a Nicky Ryan.
Maybe
not Nicky Ryan, but he's like that. He's a purple belt. I don't know that much about him, but I know he's always done. He's always done very well.
Yeah. So, did you say he's from Colorado? Is that where he's at?
He's from Texas, I think.
Texas.
From Checkmat, Texas.
Oh yeah.
Texas.
Texas. I've been working on my American accent's coming along quite well.
You specialize in the southern area.
Southern
district.
I specialize in the southern farming districts. So Kasai, then you've got hopefully you're ready for the ADCC finals, world.
So that's in the end of September. So I'm pretty high on the reserve list. So I think I'm either number 1 or 2. So if anyone drops out, because I did well at the trials and I've done well recently, I should get an invite. So I wouldn't say it's, I would say it's maybe 50-50 chance.
Yeah.
So like for example, the last ADCC in Finland, Nicky Ryan, who had not won at trials, I think he took 3rd twice, or maybe just 3rd once, I'm not sure. But someone dropped out last minute. He was there.
Yep.
And he ended up getting into the tournament. So I'm going to fly out there for the event. Definitely, if anyone...
Have your rash guard on, just be at the side of the mat, ready
to go. If anyone misses weight, gets injured, whatnot, I'll be good to go. Be ready to jump in.
So we just got to find out who's in that 170-pound division. 170 pounds, yeah?
70, yeah.
And we'll start just kicking knees. I'll go around and train, and I'll just jump on scissor takedown, just nasty shit. We'll just take out 4 or 5 of them. Yes. And unfortunately, on negative news, you also hurt your knee.
Yes.
So you're coming back off that?
Yeah, I had knee surgery 4.5 months ago. So I had a meniscus repair. So I'm just kind of getting back into training. Probably, been about a month now since I've been rolling and just starting to ramp it up again.
Yeah.
So I just went to the doctor today. Actually, I've been fully cleared to go back to training as tolerated, and so I feel good.
So that took longer because it was a tear they stitched up, didn't they?
Stitched up, yeah, exactly. So a lot of people hear meniscus and they're like, "Oh, that's nothing. We'll be back in a month." Yeah. But so I had it was a pretty complex tear, so they had to suture it up, sew it up, and but in the long run, it ends up being better because they preserved my, the virgin meniscus tissue. So
Is that how they explain it
That's
as well?
what they said. They said the virgin tissue.
And do you laugh
so.
at him? He looks at you like you're an idiot. Yeah. Is there discomfort like at full compression?
There's a slight discomfort, but I have pretty much full, full. I'll sit closer to the mic. Full flexion, full range of motion.
Yeah, so that's healed it. That's healed it.
Yeah, so I think it's healed. It's just there's some like residual swelling a little bit, but it's good.
Yeah,
it's pretty good.
I mean, do you think? I mean, everyone's convinced that leg locking just destroys everyone's knees. Like, I don't think that was actually directly really from like per se leg locking. I mean, you weren't stuck in a heel hook or anything.
No. I was in a leg entanglement position.
Yep.
But I think it was a position I've been in, 1,000 times, and I've never had an issue. Just the way I moved.
Nick Ronan's fault is what you're saying. Yes,
exactly. Yes.
I mean, Nick Ronan's a training partner of Jason's. He's a killer as well. He's it's definitely his fault.
It's his fault. But just moved weird. My knee buckled oddly. I think a freak incident, and it was an acute injury. It wasn't something that was bothering me over time. It just happened all at once.
Yeah.
I knew I was fucked up. Couldn't walk, and got an MRI.
Did you think yourself, oh fuck, it's my ACL or it's my?
I didn't think it was my ACL. Just because I don't know, there wasn't like a loud popping sound. It was like kind of like almost like a grinding sensation, like the joint kind of. So I figured it was probably the meniscus, and based on like the symptoms, and I got an MRI the same day, and I knew the next day.
And how does that work here? So we've got Medicare back at home where pretty much everything's covered. So if you've got private health insurance, you can get your choice of surgeon, or you can get through maybe quicker. But either way, you're going to get seen. Here they don't have that, do they?
So I have health insurance here. So
okay.
I have okay insurance. I have in New York, I have the state insurance, but because
the Empire State.
Empire State. Well, that's actually good insurance.
Is it? Okay, they do have the Empire.
It's called Empire Plan. That's good.
Of course they do. Yeah.
But I have my insurance. I have so it's the state subsidized insurance, but because I have a job, I have the good poor people insurance.
Oh, the good poor people.
The good poor people insurance. So, but actually, I got the MRI the same day. Normally, you would not be able to do that. You have to see an orthopedist, get a referral, get an X-ray first. There's a whole process, to make sure it's medically necessary. But one of my good friends, he runs a bunch of MRI offices, so he just put me in the same day. Yeah. So that was very nice. So I got in the same day. The next day, I had the results.
That's
normally
fantastic.
it would be
it's a rigmarole.
A little bit longer of a process. Probably, especially here seeing orthopedists, you could, depending on which one you're seeing, you could wait, as long as a month to see an orthopedist. So
yeah,
I was lucky, got it taken care of right away. I was actually went on vacation the day after the injury, so I got the MRI that night, found out the results the next day, went away for a week, came back, got the operation done.
Good. So you're on the men. I mean, I've been training with you, you've been absolutely kicking my ass and everyone else's ass, but do you feel like you're back at where you need to be?
I would say I'm close to, I don't want to say 100%, but especially the past maybe week and a half or so, I started to feel really good.
Oh, that's good. Just in time for me to get here.
Yeah.
That's good.
Before that, especially, I mean, you've seen, especially when it gets really slippery.
Yeah.
Here, I don't feel very
but
comfortable.
That's dodgy.
Yeah, I'm sure everyone feels, but I get a little worried about my knee, but today, for example, wasn't so hot in here. I felt pretty good. Not 100%, but I feel pretty good. I feel good. Yeah.
Speaking of slippery, I wanted to talk about it because I think a lot of people from Australia, we think, we can handle the heat. We're used to it being fucking hot. Like I said, 45 degrees centigrade, which is 120, 130. It's like cooking. But I've been here, so I come out of Australia's winter, and I've just been absolutely hammered. I don't think I've stopped sweating since I got off the plane. It's been 30 degrees centigrade, so what's that? 80, about 85, 80, 85.
90, maybe the hottest, but
it's just humid. It's like being in a rainforest.
Yeah.
It's nearly like the gyms aren't set up for it. Are many of the gyms air conditioning? Is it just the ones that I've been going to, or what's?
I mean, I know Renzo says AC. They don't really set it very high. Here we got some fans right in here. If you guys can see on camera, when we run those, it gets pretty cool.
Yeah.
This is also a basement.
Yeah.
At Levittown, the AC is currently not working.
Oh,
so
that place.
When we have that on,
hot.
that is one of the hottest. And
yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's the humidity. It's the air.
Also, just so you guys know, he said humidity. That's
with the U.
They don't believe in H. They're very prejudiced against a lot of things, particularly H. So it's humid. Yeah.
And it's tough to train. It's very, very hot.
I mean, you're
sweaty.
probably used to it. You don't know any different.
Yeah, I mean, but once, obviously, we have the 4 seasons here for the most part. I know you guys don't have seasons there.
Yeah, that's right.
Really, but so like it's during this time of year where it gets like that. It's like the end of June until like August, early September. It's very hot. Then fall, spring, it's it's not bad.
If anyone can hear in the background, we're at the gym here, and
yeah,
someone's called the phone, and then this lady is leaving like a 15-minute voicemail about prices. So apologize.
We're not taking new clients. That's
sorry,
not true.
lady. Move on, lady. Take a hike.
Yeah. So during this time, it's always like this. The winter gets pretty cold.
Yeah.
We obviously have heat then. But
it gets like there's like snow piled up outside in winter, isn't it?
Yes, yeah. So this is like it may be it's humid now, but 6 months from now in whatever that would be in
Christmas time,
January,
snows,
Christmas time,
yeah.
It's like it's gonna be 0 degrees here. You get a lot of snow. You really get the seasons here.
How's that for training? Because I haven't trained in like that sort of weather.
So I mean, when we have heat here. So actually at this gym here, there's if you can see in the back, there's like a big industrial heater hanging from the ceiling back there. I don't know if you can see it.
Is that silver thing?
Yeah. So it gets pretty cold in here. Levittown we have normal heating, so it's fine.
Okay.
But I mean, if there was no heat, it would be more untrainable than the summer because it's one thing to have a lot of sweat, but if it's
so
it's freezing in the gym, you can't train.
Yeah. And do you find injury rates are up like when you're colder as well, or not really?
I mean, if we were in that type of environment where there was no heat, definitely. But
there's heating at Henzo's in the basement.
There's heating at Henzo's. There's still
because that place
winter,
is
it's
hot
almost
and
fucking hotter than it is now.
It's hotter.
Almost hotter. Yeah.
Oh,
yeah,
Jesus.
Yeah. Because they blast the heat up. It'll be like 85, 90 degrees in there.
Because that place is that Danaher likes the heat. It's like someone's hosed the mats afterwards.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, I don't know if it's Danaher or whoever or. Just always been like that as long as
who really knows what Danaher likes or dislikes?
Dislikes. I don't think he has likes or dislikes.
Emotions
definitely not. No.
So I've been here so I got in last. So today is Tuesday here. I got in last Saturday. I've trained a fair few sessions. I've basically done every session that I can between Henzo's and out here with Jay. And Danaher's not the sort of coach that you want to train with if you're wanting some type of feedback.
Yes.
Maybe if you, even if you know him, I mean, he barely gives you guys. Maybe you get a good job every now and again, but it's funny. I think I said it to you the other day, where he nearly makes it where you want to try and get his like a good job out of him. Like I don't know whether that's just my nature of trying to please him.
Yeah. There's definitely like a certain yearning among the students to please him and. Get that.
But he doesn't give a fuck. Like you watch him, he cares about delivering the technique to you.
Yeah, I mean,
and providing the training environment.
And I think in a certain sense, because there's so many people coming through, through the door there. I mean, he definitely diverts his attention to the people,
who are there every day.
Yeah.
I mean, that makes sense as well.
Yeah.
I mean, in that particular session, he's not run for welcome to jiu-jitsu, come and try out this class.
Yes,
That's not.
That's for the athletes there, for the Nicky Ryans, the Gordons,
Well, I think the room seems to be halfway filled with athletes that are trying to get better, halfway filled with guys who live around Manhattan who just happen to be in the place where the best gym in the world is.
Yeah.
And then the other probably quarter maybe are like people coming in.
They're visiting.
They're visiting. They're just
faces in there.
And it seems to be like a lot of them are just coming in to just do a session at Henzo's and tell their buddies and get a photo and then move on.
Yeah, maybe they're in New York for the weekend. They train jiu-jitsu with the competitors. They want to go experience that room for a weekend or a week or whatever. Get a picture and
move on.
Yeah.
But I hadn't really thought about it. I was talking to Damien about it the other day. As the guys who are in the room all the time, you've probably also got a certain amount of enforcing nearly you have to do, or you get some new guys like, oh, can I get around him with you? He might know, probably knows who you are. He knows you're a black belt, one of the best in the world. You don't know whether he's some spazzy blue belt or someone who's good or someone that's going to hurt you.
That's true.
It's a tricky at my gym, I'm teaching at the same place every day. I know the guys. If someone new comes in, I've normally got a feeling for who he is.
Yes, of course.
You guys are getting like random people thrown at you all the
it's
time, and they're trying to win. They're not trying to just train and have a session with you. They want to try and either tap you and say, "Oh, I got Gordon Ryan."
It's a very like competitive atmosphere. You know, like there's constantly visitors coming in, and they're usually looking to try to put it on you. You know, and it's kind of nice from my perspective, being like. Because I teach at Serra's, you know, I'm one of the main instructors there. I teach you know, pretty much all the advanced classes. Like, I am not playing that enforcer role. I mean, we get a fair amount of visitors, but you know, I'm the instructor. I can kind of you know, see how somebody's doing. And I have plenty of other guys who
you can push that out to someone else.
Yeah. So, but at Renzo's, like, the kind of role falls on me. So it's kind of fun.
Yeah.
You know, to kind of be back in that position, like,
kind
of to defend the gym, and that's something me and Nick Ronan talk about all the time.
Defend the gym.
If there's a visitor there, like, you know, we kind of not in a malicious way, but you know, you kind of like you see who he rolls with.
Sort him out.
You know, you quietly ask, "How is that guy? Oh, he's pretty good. All right, I'm gonna go with him. All right, don't roll with him. He's a spaz.
He's gonna.
Or he's not worth it. Not worth the time. But you know, you have 6 rounds there. You want to get a tough roll.
Yeah, for sure.
So, and you know, it's kind of fun playing that role. But normally at my teaching at Serra's,
totally.
like someone else will do that. You know, whereas I'm the kind of the head guy there. But Renzo's kind of roles get reversed a little bit.
It's an unusual juxtaposition. You know, juxtaposition where. Like I'm even finding that this fortnight, right? I'm not used to being the student anymore, and I really enjoy being the student. It's actually
for you Americans listening. He doesn't mean fortnight.
No, not the game.
The game. He means fortnight, like 2 weeks.
2 weeks. That's right. You guys use that terminology.
We don't use that.
So
if you watch Game of Thrones, you hear that a lot.
you guys are. I like how you guys are learning proper English from Game of Thrones.
Yes,
That's how.
It's a fortnight.
America was found by the English, taken over by the English. They're effectively English, but to really show how far they've come from being English, they've just bastardized a bunch of random words and terminologies, and they spell things funny. And I'm pretty sure we just follow more the British route, but you guys have kind of tried to draw yourself away as much as possible. God bless America. Freedom. Eagle. What else? What are all the? I'm just trying to say all the
Eagle. I don't know.
Fuck everything's freedom. The freedom is very important because everyone else hates freedom. Only Americans like freedom. Yeah. If you're from Australia, you fucking hate freedom. But
anyway, this
for
fortnight,
me, this fortnight. For me as a coach, it's really nice to go back to being just a student role because. It's like I sort of see myself as a student anyway because I'm studying so much of your stuff and Danaher stuff. So I'm a student in that regard. But when it comes time to, run classes, it's not me going to somebody and saying, look, where do I put my hand here? I've got to be on top of all that.
Yeah.
And it is nice just to go back into being a student and just sit there and just take it in and
it's different.
Yeah, it's nice to kick back.
I think as a school owner. You'd probably agree with me. It's like important to be able to step back into that role. I think a lot of people, I mean, not in jiu-jitsu, but in martial arts in general, they kind of take on that role as instructor.
I'm the master.
Yeah, I'm the master.
Yeah.
Not that they think they know everything, but they almost like appear that way to their students, and like it's okay to,
Well, I think it's an ego thing. I think they perceive that if they show they don't know everything, that they're looked at as being weak and which is bullshit. I think that's actually worse. Like if I get asked a question, it's something I don't know, I'll make sure I do my study to find that out. But I'm not going to make something up. He's like, I'm in deep half and I put my hand here and do this, and then I might have to say, look, I don't use that position every day. I'll find out for you. But I'm not going to be like, fucking grab the back of his neck and then spaz out this direction. And then. But that's how guys teach.
I know, it's true.
They're teaching for their own ego, not for the
benefit of the students.
For the benefit of the students. Yeah. I'll tell you what I'm super impressed with is the quality of grappling on the mat at Serra's gym. Not that I thought there wouldn't have been, but for me, there's not a notable difference between Renzo's and. I mean, obviously at Renzo's, there's like the core group of the squad. Those guys are all very sharp, but they're professional jiu-jitsu players. Yeah. But you've
in
got
terms
some
of like the belt for belt, like
the
average guy at Serra's, I think is just as good as.
I think it's really good quality. And that's a testament to you and Matt obviously.
Yeah, I mean, I think people forget that. I mean, we've been open. I haven't been here that whole time, but this gym's been around for 20 years. It's been around not as long as Renzo's, but nearly as long. And I mean, you can't see on the camera, but there's like a picture of all the black belts. Matt has like, I mean,
Oh,
this is a few
that's
years
all
ago.
black belts. So
Yeah, this is
there's
like
a picture
as
on the
of
wall
like
there.
3 or 4 years
What's
ago.
that? 30 people?
Yeah,
Maybe
no,
more.
that's more. That's like
40 people.
I mean, yeah, I think there's like over 60 black belts now.
Oh, wow.
Black belts. Yeah, so there's a big affiliation here. We have obviously we're a Renzo affiliate, but there's like over a dozen Serra affiliates, maybe more, 15 Serra affiliates.
Jesus,
it's a pretty.
That's impressive for Matt, isn't it?
Yeah, it's pretty cool. It's a big affiliation.
Yeah,
a lot of students here.
And I mean, there's a lot of knowledge. Here's someone coming in the door now. Is there someone coming in for class? Or?
Is that Sean Levy?
Some dude with tattoos?
Yeah. Is that Sean? What up, Sean?
Hi, mate. How are you? Just doing a podcast.
So, Sean, have you met Luke? You haven't, right?
Hi, Sean. How are you? Nice to meet you.
Yeah. Go ahead, man. Yeah. Of course. Yeah. They can train in the back.
Yeah, it's fun.
Right?
It's all good. Huh?
Is the music go on? Is it gonna fuck up the sound?
The music may
yeah, just if you don't mind.
drown out. We won't be too much longer.
How was the class today?
It was good. Good class. Yeah. Cool. And then, you guys training tomorrow?
Yeah. We might. I don't know if I gotta see. I got PT tomorrow. So,
Okay.
But if we do, I'll definitely.
Yeah, I'll be here.
Yeah.
So.
Awesome. Oh yeah, you said you're gonna teach it tomorrow. Yeah.
So I thought you were done with all your physio, or you still got more?
No, I'm still going.
Okay.
So, the doctor said today probably like maybe once or twice a week. I'm still like I just like transitioned to running and plyo, so I still have some progression to do with that.
Okay. Yeah.
So yeah, keep going.
Cool. So what do you think? Someone asked Craig Jones this question the other day, and I found it an interesting question. He said, there's a different sort of focus or something popular that follows, especially through the competition scene. Leg locks have definitely been the big thing for no-gi, maybe in more recent time, maybe the last year or two. And the question put to him was, I think, what's that next big thing that you see? What are your? I know that's kind of put on
I
him.
definitely think. I think there's. So I'll say this. So I think leg locks. Everyone has. I don't want to say everyone, but a lot of people have caught up with it. Like
Yep.
you see the general. Proficiency in leg locks is much higher than it was even a year ago.
I agree.
2-3 years ago. So that was the kind of meta, and I think that's still very much that's an integral part of the game at this point. I think the back takes off the leg locks, and that's kind of really come into play recently. I know. I think last time we spoke on the podcast, I might have mentioned that, but
Yep.
and I think that is the current meta. But I think the wrestling, like the blending the wrestling into jiu-jitsu is and it's already happening right now, but like the seamlessness of that is going to continue to be like a driving force.
You mean like more ADCC style,
Yes,
where it's
yeah, like
more heavily focused
yes,
on the takedown?
Yeah, not even necessarily the rule set, but like guys using wrestling from bottom position to come up and score. Like I think that is, and I think not that that's not used. That's used a lot, especially in, ADCC and the gi. But I think that's going to continue to progress, and you're going to see like kind of like not as much of a, I guess. Not a gap, but not as much of a distinction between wrestling and jiu-jitsu. It's going to be kind of perceived as kind of one thing. That's definitely where I think it's going. I think the kind of leg locks came in, and people kind of caught up on that. Then you have these back takes coming in, and I think like now that's kind of evened itself out a little bit. And I think in no-gi it's just so hard to.
There's only so many things people can defend, but
so
as
many
well,
things, especially there's only so many things you can do.
Yeah.
From bottom position, like especially the guard, the no-gi guard. I definitely think, it's just hard, to.
Well, it's hard if you have someone who doesn't want to engage.
Yes.
If you have another grappler who's agreeing that he's there to try and beat you and make his way through your guard and submit you, or submit you in your guard, whatever. But if you get someone who refuses, and I mean,
and unfortunately, I think a lot
tricky
of
part of it.
So a lot of the people in grappling are not really, trying to engage. Or
they're not confident enough. And talking about ego, their ego would rather them lose a decision than be submitted, than actually engage.
Or even like, you look at like even ADCC, like the amount of guard passes or the amount of like submissions are so low. Like most matches are decided by wrestling.
Yep.
And most sweeps that occur are not like sweeps. They're like a guy on bottom coming up and wrestling.
Wrestling on the single or
just the way jiu-jitsu is, like you have one guy on their butt, one guy standing. The guy on their butt can't possibly. There's nothing that guy on their butt can do to make the person on top like engage them. There's just, I mean, I'm on my butt, you're standing, you're like 100 times more athletic than I am right now, you know? In the gi, it becomes a little different. You have the grips, you can kind of suck someone in. I mean, I think, I think that's why the wrestling is becoming so prevalent, like coming up and taking someone down, you know, that's like.
It's funny you mention that because that's the same answer Craig gave.
Yeah. It's
probably from being at Renzo's.
Yeah, it's the only way I think you can, like, reliably, like, force engagement on someone, you know? And I think because when someone is passing your guard or like wading through your guard, whether they're trying to pass or not, like their posture is not the posture one would be in to defend a takedown, right? So if you can switch from being on your butt, they have a specific posture to defend what you're doing, and switch to a wrestling position, they're going to be out of position.
You just got a bit closer.
They're going to be, if you switch from being on your butt to being in a wrestling position, you know, quick enough or time it well enough, the person who's on top is going to have trouble defending.
Well, then they have to engage.
Yeah, exactly. And
they have to
but the
run.
posture needed to defend, you know, Ashigarami entries or whatever, it's going to be different than the posture needed to defend a takedown. So you can kind of play off of that, you know.
What I mean, I totally agree, and I'm trying to start to explain that to my students as well. That if you really want to get someone to engage who's refusing to, you sort of do have to come back up into that next stage.
Yeah,
but
heisting positions or
heisting's great. But what about the issues of then having to deal with people grabbing the neck, taking the front headlock?
I mean, that's definitely prevalent.
That's going to be the issue, isn't it?
Aware, and then
you
know, I mean, it's just something I guess you have to feel comfortable with and and get used to being in those. The same way, like when you shoot on someone from standing, you have to be comfortable with that. I mean,
but that's why a lot of guys won't shoot. So why I don't shoot in competition, I don't have to deal with someone put them in a front headlock and then get into my back.
Yes, exactly. You know, I mean, I would like to see much stronger stalling calls.
Yeah,
you know, in
I
jiu-jitsu.
agree. Totally agree.
Again, like the person on bottom, there's really, if the person on top, assuming you're relatively the same skill, the person on bottom can't do anything to make the person on top engage you. You know, and again, you can engage without really engaging someone, you know, kind of stay on the outside, push their head, make a few collar ties, push their shoulders, like throw the legs by, attempt to sort of pass, but not really commit to anything. So I think with stronger stalling calls, that's one way you could force more, you know, more of that action and really see more.
Get them going. Well, like we see in the gym. In the gym, we walk into each other's guard. I mean, if you've got a guy in the gym who's stalling, he's just an asshole, isn't he? Like, if you're like, man, what are we trying to achieve here? Like, you're not even going to engage. We're in the gym. And that's it. But, you know, so I feel like in the gym, you probably get the better matches than you do in tournaments because in the tournaments, especially these super fights, everything's super fights now, right?
Yeah.
It should be the two guys go, let's try and submit each other.
Yeah. No, I agree. It's true. You know, even you watched Kasai recently. I mean, you had a few matches that were really good.
Yeah, but it favors point. It favors points.
Favors you know, really favors the wrestling. That becomes a big factor.
Well, you cannot, if you sit from top position, unless they deem that your attempt on their legs was valuable enough to score a point, you've now given up 2 points to your opponent, and you may not come back from 2.
Yeah.
I think that doesn't entice people to make an effort to really to do something.
Yeah.
Now, what about? I mean, there's two schools of people, right? There's guys who are happy just to sit on their butt and do what's affectionately known as butt scooting, and then there's guys who only want to wrestle for takedowns. And there's like a clear two groups. On the internet you see people carrying on about it.
Yeah.
Nothing drives me crazier than people discrediting someone taking bottom position, because it's like I've seen so many horrendous matches of two guys who want to just wrestle with each other, and if you want to watch wrestling, there's a sport called wrestling. There's actually a sport where they just try and take each other down. It's kind of like people that don't want to see ground fighting in MMA. It's like there's a sport called boxing and kickboxing. You can do it. So it's like this is submission grappling. We're trying to submit each other.
Yes. I mean, I agree.
You see what I'm going with that? What are your thoughts on that?
I mean, again, not to say that I think the wrestling, it's an important skill to have, and I do enjoy it. But at a certain point, for example, you look at the way ADCC is structured, like with the overtime and the way you penalize guard pulling or sitting down or whatever. So you end up having, usually what you end up having is two guys who are not willing to go to their guards and end up having a wrestling match, and they're not world-class wrestlers.
They're not Olympic level
like,
wrestlers. They're like
C-level
Yep.
wrestlers.
Yep.
Even the
Yep.
best wrestlers in jiu-jitsu
Mhm.
couldn't hold a fucking candle to
Yes.
the world-class wrestlers.
Well, I mean, you look at Askren and
Yeah.
bloody what's his name?
Burroughs.
Burroughs. I mean, there's a perfect.
Well,
Askren was
and
actually
Askren is
and Askren
is
was
a
an Olympic
legit
level wrestler.
Olympic wrestler, and
But what
you
it
see the
showed
difference,
was that there's
like,
different levels
yes.
of wrestling.
I mean, like Askren's wrestling is light years ahead of anybody else in
Yes.
jiu-jitsu right now. Light years ahead.
Yeah.
Would be the
Oh yeah.
by far. Like you look at someone, and this is no discredit to someone like Wagner or Canuto. I mean, who certainly have great
Yep.
takedowns and much better takedowns than I do. But realistically, their takedown ability is like
No,
pale.
if you put them in
comparison.
if you put them in like a tournament
Yeah.
with good wrestlers,
Yes.
they probably
Yeah,
wouldn't.
yeah, absolutely. And so, like, to me, I like to, I mean, I'm in there to submit the person.
Yeah.
And obviously, if I have to win on points, I win on points, but it's not preferred. I want to control the person into a submission. And
But what I can't work out, let's say you're not that guy. Let's say you're the guy who wants to do takedowns, right? If your opponent pulls to a bottom position, he's already done the takedown for you.
Yeah.
So would you not think that then you go, well, the next stage of your game must be guard passing, or what were you planning?
I agree.
Are
So
you planning on only taking people down into mount or
yes,
something?
Yeah,
Like what's?
Yeah. So, like, I feel the same way.
Yeah.
You know, like, if that person who wants to do takedowns does secure their takedown, oftentimes, they don't want to engage once they've secured the takedown, which is, to me, if, okay, I want to take the person down, I should want to, do they have, there's no class today, right? They should have, what's up, Mike? I'm doing podcasts. They should have, some type of plan after that to further, whether it be pass the guard, mount the person, submit the person.
You would think so.
Yes.
How do we get around this? Because it's happening all the time. It's going to keep happening.
Yeah.
And I feel like we've fought really hard to try and get jiu-jitsu to a point where people want to watch it. And there's now shows where people, like, there's opportunities for you. There's even opportunities back at home. I've got a show called Subversion coming up that I've got a super match on, which is going to be a bunch of fun. But there's opportunities now that never used to be, right? It just used to be a couple of tournaments here and there. I feel if we just keep allowing guys to play that type of game, it really takes away from people want to see guys submit each other.
Yeah, I think so. I think when you have like two guys who, I think people are always going to try to game the system, even like with EBI.
Yeah.
Not that I'm a huge fan of that. You have guys who, have gotten so good at, I don't want to even say stalling, but like shutting their games down, not getting submitted, and then
Work
ended
the
up winning in
overtime.
overtime. I think you need.
I mean, you have to have something, but don't you? Otherwise, everything either goes to a draw or everything.
I think Fight to Win has a good formula. I like their formula.
What's I actually haven't, because I don't watch a lot of Fight to Win.
Yeah, you guys don't have that over there, but it's
Well,
basically.
I think it's on. Is that on Flow?
It's on Flow.
So
it's
most people don't have Flow.
It's basically whatever the time limit of the matches, but it's like similar to MMA, and there's 3 judges. But it's based on submission attempts.
It depends on the judges, then, doesn't it?
Yeah,
if you got a
but I
judge
think they're
who's favoring the wrestling and not
I think they're
favoring.
instructed to score based on submission attempts first.
Okay.
So obviously positional attacks factor in as well, takedowns and near passes, near submissions, whatever. But so it's like 3 judges, and then they kind of after the match they raise a flag for whichever competitor. So it's not like a 3-point must or a 10-point must system like MMA. Although that's what Polaris has been doing.
Yeah.
Where they I don't know if you saw that.
They do like a 15-minute match, but then they break it down into rounds, but they don't stop.
Weird. Like,
it is unusual.
Yeah, because.
Well, then you just work hard at the end of the 5-minute period to game it, right?
So it's weird. It's like weird doing that and not stopping after 5 minutes.
Yeah.
But whatever. So they're playing with the rules.
Yeah.
But I mean, I don't think Kasai is a bad format. I think the points for submission attempts is a good thing.
Totally. Yeah.
Yeah.
I just think I think points in general makes it clunky because guys will game it.
Yeah.
And then there's going to be argument over what was a point and what wasn't. And as we know, the worst thing about Federation rules jiu-jitsu is the points and the understanding of that referee of how he believes. As we know, there could be 10 different referees and they've all got a different idea on what sequence is going to score what.
I mean, I think I do like the points for submission attempts. I think that kind of
I think that's fantastic.
That does even things out
and
a
no
little
advantages.
bit.
The advantages are the worst thing ever. Yeah.
But I don't know. I think people are still playing with it. There's no like set But I think Fight to Win does a good job. I mean, if I had to pick, I would think they're definitely one of the best.
I don't see you compete on there. Is that like a big show? Is that
It's
something
a pretty
you
big
do
show.
or not?
They do something almost every weekend. They have like an
They're
event
busy,
almost
yeah.
every weekend. Yeah. They travel all over the country. I think, to be honest, they're probably the only promotion. They do a good job. The guy that runs it, this guy Seth Daniels,
Yep.
he's out of
Yeah, I've heard the name, yeah.
Yeah, Easton BJJ in Colorado. But they're probably the only promotion that like has been going on. I mean, they've had over like 110 shows, I think, like on like Fight to Win 120 now. Yeah. And I think they actually make money. Like they're probably the only promotion that makes a profit. Like they try, they treat it like like a lot of like a Kasai where they have a stage.
Yep.
But they put on a lot of matches. They probably have like 35 matches a night. They go like from purple belt to brown belt, black belt. Then they have the like feature matches where they have the big name competitors and. They do this judges scoring system, and it seems to be pretty good. I've watched a good amount of their stuff. Like they seem to get it right for the most part. Obviously there's always going to be some controversy.
Yeah.
But, again, because I feel like you can, when you have points, you can kind of game it a little bit, like we're talking about. When you have an overtime, you can game it. But I think having a judge's decision, as long as the person judging is objective,
that's right.
Again, that's always going to be subject to human error. But like, you have them objectively say who's the better grappler here based on X, Y, Z, based on what criteria we believe to determine who a good grappler is. So I think that's I mean, again, I always favor the submission attempts just because ultimately, what are you trying to do? You're trying to inflict. Again, we're not doing MMA. Like, if there was punches involved, like positional attacks could be more important. But
in jiu-jitsu, but bottom position could be as dangerous or more dangerous depending on who the player is. So it shouldn't be just judged on that. Why don't we see you on the international stage enough? I mean, there's a lot of guys competing on all these different shows. There's shows in the UK now, and not mention any names, but you're more skilled and a better grappler than a lot of these guys. Why?
So I think I'm gonna be on. I think it's I don't know what is it, Battle Grapple or Grapple Fest.
Grapple Fest.
Grapple Fest.
Yep.
Yeah. Battle Grapple's another one, but I messaged them that they have a November 30th card in the UK, so I think I'm going to be on that.
Oh, good, good.
So I was asking for maybe Ross Nichols. He won this will be after ACC, but he won the ACC.
Ross just beat Ethan. Is that the same guy or not?
No, that's
that's
Ashley
else?
Williams.
That's
so
Ashley
Ross
Williams.
actually lost to Lachlan Giles, fellow Australian. And
it's good. He's been working on his Australian hard.
Yeah, that was a good accent, guys.
Americans cannot do Australian accents.
Also lost to Wagner and Polaris.
Everyone's lost to Wagner, it seems to be.
Everyone's lost to Wagner, but it was a competitive match.
Yep.
And he's probably the best leg locker in the UK. He won the ADCC European trials, so I think
perfect.
Yes, I think it'd be a good.
They
match.
seem interested in that.
I think so. They said he might be. So they said So they have another.
Is he in the? Did he win the trials?
He won the
there?
trials, so he's in ADCC.
Yeah. Oh,
so this will be
77?
after ADCC at 77.
Okay.
So I was actually, after I actually lost at the last trials, I was going to try to get a match with him at Rise, but then I got hurt, so that fell out. But I wanted.
Thanks, Nick Ronan.
Thanks, Nick Ronan. But I wanted to get a match with someone who was already in the division, to kind of prove that prove to the ADCC committee that I'm at that level and beat some of those guys, submit some of those guys, and then hopefully.
Well, that's the thing. And I'm not saying it because I'm biased, because you're effectively, other than my coach who gave me a black belt, you're effectively, I look at you as like one of my coaches now. So maybe I am biased, but your skill level stacks up against anyone in the world, and anyone that knows what's up will say that. I think just more people need to know about you. I think we need to get you out there and fucking get people.
I definitely think I've, at least in the past, I haven't always competed to my skill level, and I think that's something that I've been changing recently. But unfortunately in jiu-jitsu, I don't have a ton of followers on social media.
No, you don't. That's not your thing. No.
Yeah,
and I don't think you can. I don't think you should manufacture that if that's not your thing either.
I don't think. I
don't
want to do
that's
that.
That's terrible.
But I think I think most of us like jiu-jitsu, at least initially, because it's such an honest sport. Like, there's something that's very, very hard to fake. You're on the mats with someone, you train with someone, it's just sitting right out there in front of you, and you know how good everybody is. But I think, especially, recently, you have some people. I'm not naming anybody who maybe have a bigger following than their skill level indicates, you know. And some people who are the opposite, and I think I'm someone who's the opposite, where I think my skill level is much, much higher than how many followers I have.
There's guys on YouTube who have got like hundreds of thousands of followers, and they wouldn't know an armbar from a leg lock, but they're showing technique videos, and people are watching them. That's not an accurate representation of someone's actual skill set.
And even competitors who are like that, you know. Someone like, I mean, I'll say this out in the open, someone like AJ Agazarm, who, you know, I mean,
you guys hate AJ. I can never tell whether the heat is real or not.
So to be fair, I've never actually met him, and I've never spoken to him. Like, so I'm not talking shit on him.
Yep.
He did take second in ADCC. He didn't hit a single jiu-jitsu move the entire tournament. You know, he kind of like lets his arm get broken, and then like, as he takes you down,
he's stubborn, right?
Too. Yeah. I mean, he's definitely a tough dude. I don't think he's extremely skilled. I mean, he's a great competitor. I'll say that. Like, he definitely knows how to win better than I do. You know, in the formats he competes in, he's more accomplished than I am.
And that's where I feel like there's a hole in the rules. If someone can be winning like that, and the guy with maybe the most amount of skill to actually finish a match can lose by points somehow. Like that's where I feel the holes are. But
I definitely feel that to a certain degree. But yeah, you know, someone like him, like, he's obviously extremely well known, or someone like Dylan Dennis, like, and Dylan's a good grappler. Like,
how good? I mean, I watched him go with Gordon. Like, I mean, he went the distance with Gordon.
Yeah, it was a good match. I mean,
it was actually a pretty good match, like, legitimately good match. I think Gordon was a little bigger than him too.
And, I mean, I think Dylan is far more skilled than AJ is, but you know, the guy is almost like icon right now.
Yeah.
I mean, he's not
being attached to Conor definitely assisted him. Yeah.
He's definitely not the most accomplished grappler out there.
Yeah.
Definitely not. I mean, you know, I'm sure he would. I mean, maybe he wouldn't admit that publicly, but I think everyone knows that. I mean, he's definitely a very good grappler.
Yeah.
I'll say that, but. You know,
but like in your mind, it's hard.
It's hard. He's the face of jiu-jitsu, which is not true. Like,
I think. Does he believe that? I think these guys realize that you can say absolutely obnoxious things on the internet, and that gets more interest than a photo saying, "Yep, just did some hard work today and back to the drawing board."
Yeah,
no one gives a fuck about that. But he puts up a photo of him sitting next to his girlfriend, and he's got a gold chain on, and he says, "I'm the best ever," and people lose their mind. The internet is stupid.
Yeah, that's true.
But
I think he knows what he's doing. I don't know if he really believes that, but I don't think he would publicly say he doesn't believe that.
I mean, he was calling out John Jones to fight him after the fight. It's fantastic.
Crazy.
But the other thing is, like we were talking about Marcelo Garcia talking this morning. He's the other end of the sport. He's like the nicest guy. He would never ever say anything bad about anybody, and he doesn't like this side of the sport that it's going. But they're the guys that are getting paid, and they're the guys that people are following.
That's true.
And if you're a promoter and you're running a show and Flow Grappling wants to see viewership numbers or whatever it's on,
that's true.
It's like, what do you do? Like, same with MMA, isn't it? I'm not sure how you get around that.
That's
like,
true. I mean, for me as a fan, like, I want to see. I think people who grapple seriously feel this way. They want to see the good grapplers grapple. I don't want to see.
The serious people do.
I do not want to see AJ grapple. You
know? No. But are we the minority, or we?
I think we're the minority.
That's the problem, isn't it? Because we're looking
MMA,
at we're looking at it going, oh fuck, he just worked a scoop grip there and he passed it. Whereas the average dude's like, they just want to see some craziness,
some crazy action. Or,
and a bit of shit talk and whatever. It's tricky.
It's unfortunate, but unfortunately, that's the way it seems to be going.
Yeah.
I mean, then you have someone like Gordon who has the shit talk, but he backs it up in every sense of the word. And like so, like, you can't really fault him for it because he literally backs up everything he says he's gonna do. So he says I'm gonna do X, Y, Z, and he does. So it's kind of like.
No, you can't. I'm more than happy for someone to talk crazy shit if they can back it up the way Gordon does, and Gordon does. It was the same with Conor McGregor. A lot of people didn't like, but he was backing it up.
Backing it up, man.
I've got no problems with it.
Yeah.
I've got no problems with it.
The problem is only like one or two people can do that. Like most people can't fucking do that.
No, well, they don't have the skills, and I feel like those guys should just maybe pull back and hold up.
Spend some time working on your
actual jiu-jitsu instead of. The other thing I've been thinking about, right? I've been thinking, technically and knowledge base wise, like I feel like I know as much or as more as some of these guys I'm rolling with, not the guys in the squad, but maybe some of the other fringe guys or some of the guys out here. But I feel like they're matching me or beating me just with high quality training in volume, right? There seems to be so much access to not access to information. I shouldn't say that. There's so many people doing jiu-jitsu here.
Yeah.
Like a guy at the end of class said to me just before. He said, "Oh, so you got lots of people to train with in Australia? It's getting good down there." I'm like, "Well, yeah, but like I just train with my guys at my gym.
Yeah.
I don't have like 15 academies in the one of town, and we all can pull information."
Within like within the group of people I've trained with, there's a big number of people. Like it's probably spread across 15, 20 academies that they train at.
Yeah.
This guy teaches at this gym, this guy teaches at that gym. There's definitely like
there's a lot of pooling of knowledge and skill
Yeah.
there, and then you guys just training together, drag each other that little bit faster and quicker and better, and ask each other more questions, so then you fix that hole and you move forward quicker than we can back at home where we're just kind of training in our smaller academies.
Even we talked about this before. I think just like being around other high level people.
Yep.
Just you can feel like the difference in the pacing and the tempo of a match.
Totally.
When you go with a good competitor and just like an average guy, even if like the average guy may have a lot of knowledge, maybe takes John Danaher's class every day, but then you go with one of the competitive guys.
It's a different pace.
Different level of pace, tempo, confidence, like
aggression.
We're the guy that wants to win, and it's just
he doesn't give a fuck if he taps you 5 times in a row. He's
almost
gonna
like
keep going.
Again, it's like you look at Renzo Gracie Academy. Like not everyone has the same exact game, but like John has said, there's a everyone kind of knows the systems he teaches there. Like they do all the same type of thing. For the not to say everyone's the same, but like they're all good at leg locks, they're all good on the back, they're all good at X,
you see that most definitely.
Yes, yeah. But you take another team like Atos, for example, and not to say there's not similarities between their players, but that's more, I think, the product of a bunch of really good guys who have different games and are just training together hard.
Yep.
And you're just in a tough training environment versus like,
guys following a particular.
This guy's a very good instructor and a good coach, and he's kind of bringing these people together and creating this environment. I mean, if you look at Renzo Gracie Academy 4 years ago, like, no one would have said it was the best gym in the world. Like,
yeah, I mean, I find myself asking that because I don't think that Danaher's knowledge, but I don't think Danaher's knowledge base has changed in that period of time. What happened? Did he just get the physical bodies that he could transform?
I think
he finally got given some clay to mold with, or
I remember going to Renzo's when I was like a blue belt, and it was definitely considered a good room. This is when Gianni was still there, but there weren't that many. I mean, there's a lot of MMA guys, but there wasn't that many high-level jiu-jitsu competitors. So it was really none.
It wasn't the focus either, was it?
No, there was really none, in fact. But Danaher was still an excellent instructor. I remember having my mind blown, like, learning from him.
Yeah.
And I think just...
So it's not just about... What that makes me think is it's not just about the coach and the information. There's some other parts to it that have to come together.
I think he finally got through, like, the original guys, Eddie, Gary, and Gordon, like, willing participants to...
dedicate them solely to it.
Yeah, absolutely. Whereas, like, someone like... Atos or like, the top Alliance gyms or GFT or any of the top gyms, Marcelo Garcia, you have a bunch of full-time guys who are ready to donate their time. I just don't think Danaher had that.
Yep.
And then and then with the start of Eddie and Gordon and Gary and all those guys, this kind of came up, and now he has. You go in that room, there's 15 full-time athletes in there. Whether they're in MMA or jiu-jitsu. And
well, this is what I've asked you this question. How exactly... I said to you, we're sitting there and there's a room full of 60 people and it's midday on a Monday. How, like, in Australia, I wouldn't be able to have a room full of people generally just because there's not that many guys that can dedicate that time unless you've got a guy working shifts or something, but that seemed to be a room full of people. How does that happen?
We've talked about this. It's very strange. I think there's a lot of people who... So you have the full-time guys. There's a lot of people who are aspiring to be full-time, so maybe they're like, they work some, bartending job or some like off-hours job to support their jiu-jitsu in the hopes of kind of making it to be able to support themselves solely on jiu-jitsu. And then just the way it is in New York City, people, like, it's a very, like, people, not that people make their own hours, just there's a lot of freedom in, like, what you do. There's a lot of people who are doing jobs that are not standard.
They're not your 9 to 5, yeah.
Yeah, so they have, I think there's a lot of flexibility in working in Manhattan.
Yeah.
And, especially with certain professions that a lot of people have, to be able to kind of make your schedule around being able to train there. Because you look around the room, you see, you have a morning session and then an afternoon session, and you have, 30 people who are doing both, 40 people who are doing both.
Yeah.
Like, where do you have the time to do that? Like I myself, like if I was doing that, jiu-jitsu is my job. It's my only job. I don't have any other source of income. Like I can do that, but like I'm at the top in that room. Like
No, you're the outlier.
yeah.
Yeah.
There's Gordon, Gary, Nikki, myself. Like you have Nick Ronan, like Taza, Ethan. Like those guys can do that. Frank Rosenthal. Like
Yep.
obviously Jake Shields, but
Damien.
Damien. But I mean, I'm teaching. I'm teaching classes at night. I'm teaching private lessons all the time, like to support myself. Like I'm not making money being there. That's my skill investment time. You know, so like the average person, I don't know. I mean,
it shocks me. That's what shocks me, and it's
they have some way to make income where they're
maybe there's
some people supported by their parents. Especially the younger guys. Yeah.
I mean, there was we met a young Aussie kid, Isaac, who he's only 20 years old. He's just turned up at Henzo's. He's training with Craig, but he wasn't from Craig's gym. He was from Adelaide, actually, which is another state further down.
Yeah.
And he just rocked up, and that's going to be his job now. I said, "How are you doing?" He goes, "I literally have no money. No money. He's got a rich girlfriend, some girl he found in New York. Literally you've heard the story of it. Found he just went and found some girl that's apparently got like a rich family. He's living at her house in Lower Manhattan, and maybe some people are just making it happen for themselves no matter what. I don't know.
Just talking to people, a lot of people are not who do this are not living a luxury life by any means. They're really struggling to get by. I mean, I view myself as an outlier. Like unless you have a school like yourself, but like I teach a lot of private lessons. I teach every single day. I teach seminars.
I've been watching your workload. You work hard for what you do.
Yeah. Like I'm on like a a
busy schedule.
Yeah, today's Tuesday. On Sunday, my Sunday, I taught six private lessons on Sunday. Got up at I went to a wedding the night before. I got up at 5:30 in the morning, drove to the gym, taught like 6 hours in a row. And obviously you have to have the clients and the willingness of people to pay you to do that. But once you're at that point, like it's not a
that's another thing.
Easy, it's not an easy.
No. It's people look at. You probably find people looking at you going, "Oh, do people ever say to you, 'Oh, you've got the life, you just do,'" and you're like, "Look, yes, I love what I do because I'm in the same boat.
Yeah.
But don't try and make out like it's not hard work or that it just came to me. I just turned up one day and all of a sudden I was one of the best in the world."
That's what a lot of people don't understand. They say, "Oh, it's great. You work at the gym," but yeah, it's great right now. And not that it's easy now, but right now, I don't have to work. I can teach 15 private lessons a week. That's, besides my normal teaching duties, I make good money doing that. Which is great. But in order to attain the skills to be able to have 15 people come to me a week to take private lessons, I had to spend a shitload of fucking time to be able to do that. And a lot of time all that time was unpaid time. Like for the amount of effort I've put into this, I could be a fucking world-class surgeon right now making $500,000 a year.
Exactly right.
So that's what people don't understand. They're like, "Oh, I want to do privates," and you have to fucking be pretty fucking good to be teaching private lessons. Like especially in a market like New York, where
especially in this market, there's a lot of options for people. I mean, look, I'm doing private lessons with you from the other side of the world, so that validates stuff. I don't feel like there's as much of a definitely in my academy, I don't really push private lessons, but you seem to have a lot of these guys. Like some of these guys, I think it's like the only training they might do. They might not even do many classes.
Quite a few clients where, and I have a lot of in-home people where I drive to their house where the only training they get is through me, and maybe they go to an open mat once a week at a local gym, and
all that's foreign to me, and I wonder whether that's a market that exists in Australia or whether people are just not. Whether people are not kind of down with that, they don't understand.
It's actually interesting. A lot of the people that I have that are like that, they're usually like in their 40s. They're not. I mean, just in general, your market for private clients is not like a young 25-year-old kid because 25-year-olds have
it's got no money.
Yeah. So it's people who usually had started training years ago. 15, 20 years ago, got really into it. Maybe got a blue belt, maybe a purple belt. Not lost interest, but had a family, lost the time to be able to train, and now want to get back into it and don't really want to go to a gym, so they want to take.
They want to go and have the 25-year-old kids ripping their head off, and
so they like kind of like I've had a few of them just contact me. They're like, "Oh, I've watched your matches online. Like I've saw you on Danaher's post. Like, do you do private lessons? Can you come to my house?" And that's how it kind of starts. Like,
do you take an uki with you? Do they have an uki? Because there's nothing worse than doing a private when you've got to be the uki.
Yeah. So a lot of times. So at this point, I kind of like especially if someone's coming to the gym, I make them bring someone.
Yeah.
Or I can kind of take the local cleaning boy, Brendan, and make him help me out for an hour. But when I go to someone's house, like usually I don't have any ukis.
Yeah.
Sometimes I try to pair people up together, but
Yeah.
you know, and people don't understand that. Like
No.
when you're personal training a client, like this
Yeah.
one on right here.
You just go check him
you
on
know,
the treadmill.
not that that's not work, but you know, you're not doing everything with them.
Yeah.
So like if I taught 6 lessons in a row and I had to be the uki for the 6 lessons, I could
Oh.
not do it.
No.
But most of those lessons, with the exception of 1 or 2, are
Yeah.
those,
And it's more directing. Yeah.
like so they have, you know, what if I'm teaching leg locks? What am I going to teach braking mechanics 6 hours in a row? Have 6 guys break my
Yeah.
leg? You
Yeah,
know,
no way.
For 6 hours. So, you know, that's definitely. And again, when you're first starting out, you know, you kind of have to suck it up and just deal with it.
Yeah.
But like at this point, like I'm selective enough where I can say, hey, you got to bring someone you can't.
Or else
today,
we're not
we're
doing
gonna do
it.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah.
Like like what Danaher does. You know, obviously I don't do as many as he does.
Yeah.
But yeah, I can kind of say that, which is nice.
Yeah, and it's very interesting because I think with private lessons, they're a really good way of getting better at jiu-jitsu.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
I think some people think, oh, just go and do one random private lesson,
Yes, that's not
and
gonna-
they walk into it with no real purpose of what they want to achieve.
yeah.
And I kind of feel like, look, man, you're not going to get much out of it. If you
Yeah.
come to me with a notebook of questions, hey, now we could probably get something
Yeah,
because
yeah.
you're training and you go, look, every time I play low knee shield, they're smashing me this way. I go,
Yes,
yep,
yeah.
we can fix that.
I mean, that's kind of like what we do. Like
Yeah, that's what we do.
Yeah, so you were like in a situation where, like, and so it's I have almost like 2 types of clients. I have like a situation where you already know what you're doing, but you have very
Well,
specific.
sort of.
Yes, but you have very specific questions that you have
Yeah.
for me. Like,
Yep.
And we can get through a lot in a session because I can answer 10 questions for 10 little points of your game that you can easily correct.
Mm-hmm.
But then I have other people who like don't know fucking anything. I don't want to say anything because I won't teach. Not to sound obnoxious, but I'm not going to teach a brand new person at this point. Like
Yep.
I'm not teaching them. I'm not going to teach you how to shrimp and charge you $150 an hour. You know?
Yeah.
But like I have people who like I want to learn leg locks and they don't know anything. And
Yeah.
like that's starting. And me doing one lesson with you is worthless. Like it,
Exactly
you might as
right.
well
Mm-hmm.
roll down the window and throw your money out the window because you're not going to get anything. You have to be consistent with it. You know.
Yep.
But then again, I'll have people like you, maybe who are I'm visiting somewhere teaching a seminar. Someone who's already a pretty established guy there has
Yep.
I have questions about when I do outside ashi, this happens. Okay, we can fix this. Like you know, who already has somewhat of a base that I can kind of work with.
Yeah.
Other guys who don't really know the positions we're going to do, you have to invest.
Do you
in
just
time.
make up a schedule for like? There's some of the guys have their private view and go, "What are we doing today, coach?" And you just come up with what.
Some
you-
guys, yes. Because, some guys I will, but usually, so it depends. Some guys will kind of build off what we did the last time, and a lot of times we revisit the same thing. You know,
Yeah.
like I'll teach back stuff, like we'll focus on that. Don't know who that is.
That's a
focus on
telemarketer.
Yeah, probably.
Do you get hammered by them from India?
A
We
little
get
bit.
smashed
Not
by
so
them.
bad. Yeah, I know you do.
Yeah, we get hammered.
You
by
fuck them.
It might be a business thing. I don't know. Maybe my phone's on dodgy websites. I don't know.
But what we're talking about
With the privacy, yeah.
yeah. So you know, a lot of times we may
The
review
repetition you
something,
were
then
talking
we'll go
about, yeah.
back to it 6 months later. And,
Yeah.
you know,
and
'cause-
you know what? That's something maybe this trip that I've learned. So it's not just like you learn skills and individual techniques, but like I've learned just from watching Danaher, he will teach the same move that he's clearly taught that room probably 60 times before, maybe more. And he'll explain it like it's the first time with the same amount of detail. And there's definitely something to that. Like I think I find myself sometimes as a coach where I've got a very clear conceptual understanding of something, and you nearly kind of push that onto your students, assuming that they do as well. You know, you're like, oh, well, I taught this a month ago. They don't need to hear me say that again, but maybe they do.
It's not-
Like,
yeah,
you know, I
I do
probably
the
worked
same
on that
thing.
10 times to get to that
Yes,
finished
you get
level.
you get to that proficiency.
And when I explained it to them that night, they were looking out the window or not
Yeah,
paying
yeah.
attention or whatever. And now, like,
yes,
like
yeah.
I think
you
I'm
have
going to
like-
revisit things a
yeah,
lot
there's
more.
I think that's very important because, you know, I mean, you didn't establish that understanding by doing it once.
No.
Once.
Yeah, that's right.
You established by drilling it and doing it many times over. And I think that's important to revisit over and over again. And even when a student, so if you teach a move so there's a few ways you can do it. You can teach all the details of a move, and maybe each time a student picks up new details, or each time you teach, you can emphasize different details. So
Yep.
today we're going to emphasize X, Y, Z. The next time you emphasize something else, and each time the student kind of picks up new things to tighten up that technique.
Yep.
Eventually, they become more and more proficient.
And are you happy for your higher level guys, right, that have seen you teach that particular thing? Let's say the other night you talk you taught like, arm dragging, and then, the series that comes off arm drags, right? Between taking the legs and taking the back. I've done that with you a few times. I'm sure the other like high level guys in the room had seen it before. Are you happy that they drill and then they add at the end of it, a different entry that they want? Is that what you're looking for? And do you think that's what Danaher's looking for?
I think that's what Danaher does a lot too. I think, I've seen this series 30 times, let's say.
Yep.
Okay, like I know I can do this. I'm going to drill that, but then I'm going to drill in some maybe, I don't want to say innovations, but drill in some sequences I like off of that series. And I think that's what he wants to encourage like,
open-mindedness type thing.
Exactly.
But you're not going to go, he's showing an arm drag from butterfly, and then he looks over and you're doing single leg takedowns. Like,
no.
That's disrespectful.
But, if I do an arm drag, come up to a heist and do a double leg, excellent. Or arm drag, I'm going to elevate the cross ashi from here. Like all the things that we've done, but tying it into this position. And I think he wants that to happen. Like, okay, we do an arm drag to the back, but like I know there's 6 other options here, and he's maybe shown those, and I'm going to add that into this drilling. And even so, like even if I know that move in and out, like still something I use a lot. Like it's not going to do anything but help me to practice it more.
Yeah, I think that's a good attitude, because I see it sometimes. Even if I've shown something, I'll see some of my higher belts maybe be like, oh yeah, I've seen this before. And nearly switch off. I'm like,
yeah, do it perfectly. Like
that's right. Can you do it? Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
I mean, I say that to a lot of people, and not that people are like, oh, you showed this before, but, it's like, okay, you may know this, but can you hit it on someone resisting? Like, okay, well, then if you can, then keep practicing it, or like if you're missing it at this point, like keep practicing it.
And then how do you, as far as like, if you're trying to create, a room of people that are good, like, so you I imagine you choose the syllabus effectively, what you're teaching. Like Matt doesn't tell you you've got to teach this, like you teach.
Yeah. I mean, if he were to request me to like go over something specific,
but
it's a fight coming up.
But the bulk of the session,
I choose one with it.
How do you? Because what I find myself doing, if I just, and I think some coaches do this, is just teach random, sporadic. I feel like doing this today, and I feel like you can kind of do guys a disjustice there. I've been teaching our intermediate sessions in blocks, and then I've been teaching the advanced class more on a requirement basis, right? I feel like everyone's passing is a little less than what I needed to be. I want to put some work into that.
So
is that how you...
Based off of that, what I feel like the room needs. I mean, I definitely try to teach to the class a little bit. There's like certain classes where the like more advanced guys are there. I'll teach a little bit more advanced stuff. What I try not to do is like, I'm always, there's something like that thing we drilled today. Like, there's always something I'm working on. I don't try to teach that, because I feel like that type of move, not that it's too advanced, but like
3/4 of the room's not going to have it when you leave, is it?
Yeah, it's like I'm teaching something to like address a very specific problem that you're going to have like down the line in XYZ sequence. Like, like you have to get the ABC of that sequence before we're like down to this. You know what I mean? So like, like I feel like, not that like I would never show that, but I feel like a lot of people won't understand like why you get to pass the guard that way. Like I could just do this. Well, yeah, you can do that, but against someone good, that's not going to work. So we have to take it this way. Like for example, like undercross stinger grip. I don't know if I've ever shown that in a class. I've shown it to people, like, and maybe I have shown it in a class, but like it's not something like, guys, we're gonna go to our undercross stinger. Like, I mean, like I couldn't tell you, like if I went around the room, do you understand the turnout problem? Like some people don't even know what the fuck I'm talking about. So I try, of course, like my goal would be to have people understand that, but like why am I doing these things? Like, why am I going to teach these things if the people don't even understand the problem that is associated with me doing these things?
Yeah.
So, like, and then I'll show, like, the people that train with me, like, on the side in these types of sessions, like I'll show them that stuff. And then it's almost like a trickle-down effect. I feel like, you have the main instructor who's teaching everything, and then you have, like, senior students who are going to, like, learn the more advanced techniques, and then kind of disperse it to the rest of the class.
It's kind of like ringworm.
Yeah, it's like ringworm. But I feel like like for example, if blue belt has a question, like most likely I'm almost definitely I'm not the only person who can answer that question. Like there's probably 15 other people in the class that can answer that question. So it's like it's the mentality of like the sensei teaches like the senpai. senpai teach the kohai, the kohai teach. You know what I mean? So it's like as opposed to
That's
like
Danaher's lineage of
like if someone asked, hey, like Luke, how do you escape an inside heel? Like, how do you hide your foot? Like, I'm sure you're gonna give the same answer that a lot of your students.
I do the Mateus Ludus defense.
Yeah,
so you pretend you're like a dog doing a pull on someone's front lawn and just that distant stare. And once they broke your leg, then you slide it free and then you jump back on top of them.
That's a good idea.
That's how I like to
so
do.
I'm sure Luke Casa would give the same exact answer, and Dick would give the same answer. Because that's the answer you teach.
That's right.
You know?
That's right. Yeah. All right. We could talk all day. We'll probably wrap it up here.
I think there's a class that's gonna start.
Is there? Yeah. Thanks for chatting, man. Do you want to? Are you still sponsored by anyone?
Yeah, I'm still sponsored by Atlas Brand, so check them
Australian?
out.
They're Australian?
Spirit of Australia.
Spirit of Australia.
So check them out on Instagram, the Atlas Brand, or at the Atlas Brand. Jits soap too.
Ooh.
Jits, J-I-T-Z.
Have you been using that? I'll have to check in the showers when you wash. Have you been using that?
I have it.
Okay.
Yeah, I use it.
I've been lathering myself. I've been terrified of getting staph while I'm here.
Well, luckily at Serra's, we wash the mats every day.
Yes, I see them actually washed.
Yeah,
at
we wash
Renzo.
the mats here. So
Well, they wash it with the sweat of many bodies at Renzo's.
Yes.
Yeah.
Here, staff is a rare occurrence because of our cleanliness. Renzo's, it's a everyday.
It's an
everyday.
Gordon's fighting it off weekly.
Yeah, weekly.
Cool, man. Thanks so much for chatting to us.
You, man.
Appreciate it.
Ahoy.
Thank you. Fantastic.
Thank you.